Hello, my dear viewers. Some days ago I've been in Copenhagen and I met my dear friend Johanne Højlund, and we have a tendency to talk about Lieder when we meet up. And so we made a little video out of this and wanted to share it with you. So if you like what you see, then leave a like, leave a comment, or even subscribe to the channel. And of course, I mean, it's a conversation, so that means that some things are not complete, some things I would have said, I didn't say, but I think still it's exciting to hear about Schumann and Heine and his Opus 24, the Liederkreis. Have fun with it. Ciao.
Good morning, Johannes Held. We are in Copenhagen on this November morning.
It's sunny now.
It's sunny now, it's very nice. I always enjoy when he's here to visit. I always enjoy hearing about him just talking about Lieder. So that's actually what we're just going to share with you. So, Schumann Opus
24.
Yes. And tell me why you love this opus.
I think it's exciting because it's a very dense affair. Things are very short, things are very compact. It's the first songs he ever wrote. So this opus contains of 9 songs. And I think all of them are fantastic and very unique in that sense. There's some extraordinary short ones, Anfangs wollte ich fast verzagen, the next to the last one. I don't know any shorter song. It's 2 lines in music. It's only half a page on the score. I like about Schumann and Heine. They create something marvelous together. Both of them know the edges or the cliffs or the things that the abyss of human beings. Schumann, a guy that tried to be a pianist, a piano soloist, a piano star. He tried to kill himself quite often. He tried to drown himself quite often. And for a first start, it's why he might understand what's happening in the poetry. It's we have Berg und Bogen schauen herunter, which is a song that is actually dealing with the idea of drowning yourself. Because, it's such a beautiful Rhine River, we are sliding along here, and the water is really it wants us to go down. And so he knows what this is all about.
So you think that when he read Heine, he felt like he had a soulmate?
I think so, because it's he comes back to him later as well. It's many consider the Dichterliebe, Opus 48, as something the most important stuff that Schumann has been writing in Lieder. And it is also Heine, so the fact that he comes back to it after quite some time is it shouldn't surprise in that sense. I mean, it gives a hint that he really enjoys doing this. Heine has this sarcastic, bitter view on life. He knows the longing for a perfect shaped world, and still he knows about the cracks as well.
Can you give an example of the cracks in Heine's poetry?
There's the song Schöne Wiege meiner Leiden, and then he says this is this place where my sorrows grew and where I started to love, and this city, and I have to say goodbye, I have to say. And then the next line is I wish I would never have seen you, because you really messed up my life, you broke my heart. And there, when the sudden breaks come in, this is where also Schumann is very strong. He writes in Opus 24, he writes songs that are very short and very strong in contrast. A very calm song, or a naive song in the beginning, Morgens stehe ich auf und frage. It's very Morgens stehe ich auf und frage. It's very, comes nice. And then already the second song speeds up the tempo. Es treibt mich hin, es treibt mich her. Things are really happening. And the text drives you forward. And he's feels this idea of I can't wait to see her. And 2 songs later he says, now you're here. Listen to what my heart does. Lieb Liebchen, leg's Händchen aufs Herze mein. Fear. You know what a beat is? It's this carpenter. You know what a carpenter does? He hammers with a hammer. You know what he's hammering? He's hammering together this box where I will lie in when I go down into the grave. It's crazy.
Yeah.
And it has so much speed and excitement in it. Because the pictures are so strange. Nobody would ever compare the beating of the heart, the sign of life. When you a normal romantic approach of a heart would be saying, oh, the heart, you are alive, you are alive. But it is more or less for him, it's just like not even a clock that is ticking away. No, it is like a thing that's actively building something to be put in the ground.
Yeah.
And this is something that only Heine can do on that little on a space.
Yeah. I know that the Danish author Hans Christian Andersen, he wrote Heine, and there was actually a period where Heine was not allowed for children to read, or
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was like you should like, and also in the translations they would make it softer for Danish people to read it, because it was harsh also in the time.
It is so harsh, and he's so aggressive as well. It's like when he talks, like he loves to lift up the women that he loves, and like in the Dichterliebe again, it's like im Rhein, im heiligen Strome. They like we come to Cologne, and there's this picture of a beautiful woman, and like if he loves a woman, she turns into Maria, like she becomes holy. But if she doesn't love him back, she turns into something that's like eaten up by death and darkness.
Yeah.
It's like he's so easy to raise them up and to destroy them at the same time. And I think we know those feelings, so it's not moderated.
Yeah.
It's very wild and very free.
Yeah.
And there again, Schumann understands. He can write music that's wild and free and go straight like this. No fuzzing around, no like, oh, let's have a nice thing here. No, nothing is actually nice. It's like this feeling, like the feeling of, oh, this is good now. It's short. It's only short, brief moments where we have this feeling of ease and that things are okay. Yeah. And then they are breaking into it.
Could you maybe say a couple of words on like how you see the artist in this time? Because I mean, nowadays, with our psychologized world and diagnosis, for instance, the fact of lifting somebody up and then smashing them to the ground, that would probably be a psychological diagnosis.
Something you would try to solve as an issue.
Yeah, exactly. And yet this has created beautiful songs, beautiful poems. Like maybe, I don't know if you, because I know that you like, you're fascinated about the insanity in Schumann's music, in Heine's poetry. Like, do you have a comment on?
I mean, I think of course we are too moderated today. Like the belief that your life is better when you take a pill and then you're not having these anger issues or you massive downs again. In a way, it's unartistic. Like I read a book and then it's an interview book about Christian Gerhard, this famous German baritone, and he, like, I'm not quoting him right now, I think, but he says something along the lines like, oh, everybody tries to turn artistic life into a 9-to-5 job. When in fact, an artist has to go into the world with an open heart and also suffer from it. I mean, I believe in this. I believe this is true. And I also think there's always have been like different kinds of composers that had a more stable life. I guess Johannes Brahms is a good example of a guy who had a very stable life. He got very old. He wrote like very stable music throughout his life. And there's the troubled ones. There's Schumann, there's Schubert, and they are the troubled ones. And I wouldn't say that they are more artistic than Johannes Brahms is. And he had his struggles, I'm sure. But there's like, in that phase, I think you cannot at that time, because like Schumann, like I guess within the business, so to say, he was regarded quite highly. Like people would know what he's doing and that he's a great guy. But in many ways he was a loser. And I'm also attracted to the losers. I think that is interesting to think about that Schubert like died so early, never got out of Vienna. And Schumann like never succeeded as a pianist really. Then was overshadowed by this world famous or European famous wife that like also handled things better than him. That's another part. It's like she was getting the children, caring for them, earning all the money for the family, and having this husband that was just like fiddling around, like I'm over-exaggerating now. But it's like, I think that there's also something to be said about that you can do great things without being regarded highly for them at that time, because people are just not looking at it maybe. So that is interesting, and it's well worth to think about it. And also in today's classical business, where it's also about perfection and doing it right and winning the competition and stuff, you can be broken and still do great things, and that is okay, I guess.
Yeah. Like when I think of German lieder from this period and art from this period, the first thing that comes to my mind is the forest.
Yeah.
That's like the image I get as the first image. Is there any forest? What is like Heine? Is he also in the forest, or where is he? Like, where is he?
For me, Heine is more a city guy.
Okay.
Like, and this is just coming from the poetry. Like, I can say I didn't study him so much, but like for me, like when I have to make mention of another poet that Schumann was using, and that is really the forest guy, it must be Eichendorff.
Okay.
Like the Eichendorff poetry in Opus 39, for example, it's beautiful, and there it also it causes Schumann to write music that is like insanely beautiful, because Eichendorff makes it happen that you're in the forest, and then you hear this whisper through the trees, and you're reminded of a love long lost, and the nature experience is healing. Whereas even the nature experience, again, Opus 24, Ich wandelte unter den Bäumen, it starts out with this like, I'm out there with trees and I'm with my pain, and it's all very beautiful because I enjoy being alone with my pain. And so even that moment, then the birds say something to him, they say, they sing a melody, and then he's like, what's this melody? It's also crazy. It's like, and he talks to the birds, and then he says like, birds, who gave you this melody? And then the birds say, well, like the key changes, and then it's like, it's like suddenly say like, there was this girl, and she sang it all the time. She sang this melody, and we caught it up, and now we sing it. And then he says, "Oh, you birds, you evil birdsees!" Like he gets very Gollum-ish in a way. He says like, "You steal my music from me. You steal that. I don't want to share." And you wanna steal my memory with this melody, and it's not okay. It's like he's like saying, "No, stop." Yeah. And that is very much Heine. So I think, I don't have a good example of a nature poetry poem that was used in lieder. I have not a good example. I mean, he wrote so much. I'm sure there's good things, but for him, nature, I feel, was not in the same way a healing place.
So Opus 24 is like geographically, or what should we? Not geographically, but symbolically, geographically. It's not put in a place, or is there any? Where are we? Like there is one of them which is with the Rhine River.
No, that's Dichterliebe. Even.
That's Dichterliebe.
So it's not even that clearly located.
Okay, so there is no.
I would say there is no place. I would say it's a city story, though.
Okay.
Like.
So we are all the time inside him, or like.
Yeah, I mean we see through his eyes.
And can you like it's 9 songs?
It's 9 songs, yeah.
And like, is there
a story arc or something?
Not a story, but is there what do you feel when you go through them? What is happening?
I mean, the beginning stands the longing for the loved one. It's about I get up and I think of her. I go down to bed and I think of her. And at night I cannot sleep, which makes me completely dizzy over a day when I walk around in the city. That's the first song. Okay. Then song number 2 is like, oh Jesus Christ, I need to see her soon. And then he's like, then I think it's like it's the excitement and like also the nervousness about it. And then Heine is also very cool in putting Greek mythology into things. And the Horen are mentioned. That's like the impersonation of the hours, or like the things that are connected with time. And he says like, well, those guys, I guess, have never been in love, because otherwise they would not like sneak as they do right now, because time is just not passing. Yeah. Then it's already about like we never meet her. That's also an interesting thing. It's like, and then it's already about the fact that it's not going well. Like, Heine is not so much about this moment when, we're together and it's all so great.
No.
That actually never happens. Like, we have the longing, that's exciting for him, not having. And then when it's past, or when we have to, like, be gross towards the girl. Like, it's never about the good moment in these songs, ever. So we go straight from longing into don't steal my dreams, you birdsees, because that's painful and good for me. And then it's like, oh dear, just listen here, how harsh it is in my heart. That's then the Lieb Liebling leg's Händchen aufs Herz mein. And then it's also already about saying bye and saying in schöne Wiege meiner Leiden. It is about saying, okay, I leave this place now and I have to say goodbye and I try to keep a good face. But in the end, it's about you messed me up, and it would have been much better for me if I just would have not been with you.
Okay.
And then it's about already. I think Warte, warte, wilder Schiffmann is then also something which is only about saying, oh well, I have to leave this here now. And there comes the pathetic part of Heine. Like, he's so strong in his emotions. He says like, I leave this woman and I leave Europe. It's like I have to go. And then he says like, you see me, how done I am. So we change also the pace of things within a song. It's not only one poem has one direction. He breaks directions within one poem to make you surprised. Like, often in romantic poetry, you paint a picture. Again, Eichendorff is maybe a good counterpart to it. Like, I would say in Eichendorff, you know from the first tone and the first 3 words, you know like what kind of tone this poem has. And it will hardly ever be like this. But Heine can make you shiver. Like, there's this one poem where it's about hide and seek, like playing hide and seek. We loved each other so much and we understood each other so well and we would play so nicely together. We'd play hide and seek and we would play hide and seek so well that we couldn't find each other again. And then it's like on this last line you feel like, this is really not okay.
The way that Schumann then would use these like sudden shifts in Heine's poetry, does he have that then in the music as clearly as Heine's, or because it could also be an effect to not make it in the music, but that it's still
He's
there.
very literal, I think. Like, Schumann is actually following this very, very truly, or even pushing it over the edge.
Okay.
Because music, of course, makes things bigger.
Yeah.
You have a beautiful line.
Yeah.
You have a beautiful prelude.
Yeah.
Like the prelude of Ich wandelte unter den Bäumen is extraordinarily beautiful. So I think that Schumann is good for Heine's poetry because he makes it even clearer.
Okay, I see.
And the shifts are extraordinarily clear.
Yeah.
And the shifts are also very strong. And like when there's aggression in the text, Schumann will show it. He will show it.
Okay.
It's like, it starts with the Schöne Wiege is a good example. It sounds like, Schöne Wiege meiner Leiden. So it goes very nice and smooth, and then it goes like straight, like, hätte ich dich doch nie gesehen. Suddenly, like, the pacing changes, the accents, the markings, it's all very clear that now it's a different world. But also this way of pulling it then back. The change back, like Schumann uses, for example, in the end of this phrase, like when it's like about, like, oh, I should never have met you, never, because I'm now like really in a bad shape. And then he uses 4 bars to pull it back, to bring back the same melody from the beginning, and says, Nie wollte ich dein Herz rühren. So it's like, oh, never planned to touch anything. I didn't want anything. I just wanted to love you and just be here.
Yeah.
and then it breaks again. It's just like, oh no, you are like driving me out of this place. You have to go, and that is just very clearly marked. But he also like he's these Schumann songs, especially these early ones. It's so tiny. It's like it's a tiny car. Like you have to park this tiny car quickly.
Yeah.
In a way that like you have to be fast in your head if you sing this and if you perform this.
Yeah.
Because you have to be able to muster the energy. You cannot only. This is not nice.
Yeah.
In many places, and you have to take the risk. And this is also the interesting thing for the performer. If you perform these songs, you take a personal risk.
Like maybe this leads me kind of to the end of our conversation, where I want to ask you what Lieder can do for people today.
I think we can mirror us very much in the Lieder. Like on a content level, it's like who would not have felt what is in this poetry?
Yeah.
Like who would not have felt this idea of I need to be with her now, and hums this melody that we know, the song, our song, and the song causes emotion in us. So I think we can mirror us and find ourselves in this poetry and in this music, because it's like this period created some of the most beautiful melodies.
Yeah.
And it's just nice to hum along on something that you know and that is relating to you. So that is one part. On the other hand, this is old stuff. Like this is 19th century music and poetry. And I think sometimes it's a good thing to relate to something that has like the power of just being old. It's like going to an old church. It gives you the relief of understanding that this is like you're not alone with this, and many people have been through this before. And then there's this is another aspect, and then there's this idea of like Verfremdungseffekt that I think makes things more interesting. It's like, yes, maybe it's a little harder to read a poem from the 19th century than to read something that was written today, but it also makes you look at things differently, and it's a little more challenging to do so, but wow, you understand this picture still, and we still have a heart beating here.
Yeah, exactly.
And it doesn't matter what we have all around and what else is there, but there is something that is not changing. And for me, these songs are like symbols for things that never change. And there is some songs that I think are outdated, that are not telling us anymore. But if you search, you will find things that will suit you and are exciting stuff, even from this older music.
Yeah.